I am going to try to do this intro without falling over because I am walking on some, my girlfriend's over there, on some very uneven stones by the sea. Good morning, or good afternoon shall I say, from sunny Menorca. This marks the start of a month-long photography trip spanning 3 different countries. Right now I'm in Menorca with my girlfriend. After this it will be Istanbul with very good friends of mine, and to finish up it will be Porto with my mum. As much as I love to travel on my own and to travel just for photography in particular, traveling with the people that you love is by far a better experience. And this trip is going to be photographed exclusively on the X2D2, with the goal to see if I can daily drive such a unique and luxurious camera and see how that works out. Now, some of you might say, that's so stupid, why would you do that? Well, I got inspired by, God, there's a big hole here. I got inspired by those videos on YouTube where people try to daily drive a Bugatti or a race car or something else which is not particularly suitable for daily driving. And this is kind of the photography equivalent. So that's all I can, God, that was a big wave. That's all I can really say for the intro. Hope you enjoy this video. It will be a mixture of photography, of behind the scenes, of me sharing my thought process when I'm taking shots, and towards the end a bit of a chat about the X2D camera. Now, this video is sponsored by Hasselblad. I have an ongoing relationship with Hasselblad, so when I talk about the camera, think of it as a showcase of what the camera can do and not a review, because of course, as I've said in other gear related videos that are sponsored, you can't review a product that you're being paid to promote. So I will show you the X2D, and oh God, I'm going to try not to fall over. Also, this not a great start to the trip, because even though it's day 1, I'm coming down with a massive cold. So it might actually be my last day of shooting in Menorca for at least a few days. But yeah, what a lovely day though, isn't it? With regards to lenses, I have 2 primes. I have the 38 f2.5, which in full frame terms is around about a 30mm, and I have a 90 in my bag, which is around 60, give or take. In my opinion, having one slightly wider lens and one tighter lens is all you really need. You don't need any more lenses, at least for this system, simply because you can crop in so much. As a matter of fact, you can use different crop modes and preview modes, and I have a slightly cropped in 3x2 mode, which actually gives me a 35mm equivalent focal length. And when I open the raw photo in Lightroom, it kind of keeps that crop. However, if I open the crop tool, I can then recompose and readjust if I need to, which for me, 35mm for this kind of a travel scenario is perfect. This is a lovely scene. You've got the lighthouse in the back, you've got some nice clouds above it, beautiful turquoise water. You've got this little bench right here, plus a stone wall. And I'm not quite sure if it's going to be landscape or portrait orientation yet. I'll take both. But I don't know, this looks wonderful, I think. while we're walking along the coast, we're just climbing back out of that little path onto the main road. When I picked the locations like Menorca, Istanbul and Porto, they weren't specifically for this video. It was just 3 separate trips that happened to cross and it worked out logistically. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually a very good way to test this out as a daily carry, because Menorca is a very slow-paced trip. There's going to be no street photography, just photos of nature, nice corners of buildings, and just very slow photography that these cameras are excellent for. Istanbul is going to be full-on street photography. It'll be chaotic. Fuck me, I'm out of breath. It'll be chaotic. There'll be loads going on. I'll be switching lenses quickly. I'll have to rely on the autofocus a lot more, and generally it'll be a lot more full-on. And Porto is going to be a nice mixture of the two. So it'll be interesting to see how this camera performs in these 3 unique, I can't speak, unique situations. Oh, so you know when you have like a fever coming, your whole body's just aching, and a little climb that you can normally run up, walking up and you're out of breath. Ah, the joys. Oh, this is quite nice.
Yeah, the white.
Yeah. There's a lizard, where?
It's already.
Oh, it's gone. That's a shame. That's really cool, the white roof and the palm tree. Lovely. But this one, no, not quite the same. A very good morning to you from a quiet Milan. Today I am exploring all little tiny side streets, back streets of this town. Thankfully the cold has gone. 2 days it was a bit ropey, still managed to get out and shoot a bit, but today's like the first proper day. Today I'm on my own. Olga's doing her own stuff today, so gonna spend the whole day out taking photos, which is bliss. It seems very quiet today. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I'm just in a quiet part of town, but yeah, excited. Blue skies. Actually, the weather here has been a bit ropey, to be honest, but today promising to be good. All right, let's shoot. I love this little scene. You've got the green windows, the white wall, but you also have the yellow wall and the darker green window, plus the blue sky. So this whole scene is really like interesting, especially when the sun's out and it's creating the shadows. The tricky bit is, how do I actually get this on camera? So I'm going to try a few different compositions, move around. Hopefully the sun stays out, because if the sun goes in, it can kind of ruin the moment for me. But let me see what I can come up with, and I'll probably show you a few different versions of this shot. Of course, photos like that will never win any awards, but I just like to have random little details like that mixed in with a bunch of other stuff, because being here in this town, these are the details that are catching my eye, not silhouettes walking through patches of light. This is really cool here. You got the flower sticking out, you got the shadow of the flower, but also you have the light on the flower itself. It's really nice. Seriously, one of the best things in the world is to just go for a long walk with a camera. It's the definition of therapy, at least for me. Okay, I don't know, 10 miles, 20 miles, it doesn't matter, just keep walking, shooting. Love it, absolutely love it. And you don't even have to come away with any good photos. Like, yes, I'd like to get some good images from here, but it's like, if I come home today empty-handed, I'm not going to be annoyed at all. This is just bliss. Yeah. So up ahead is a mirror that you could see. So this mirror is there to inform road users that there's someone coming around the blind corner. But the mirror has got some weird patterns and textures to it. It's obviously been out in the sun for too long, so it looks quite cool, and the sun is hitting it really nice. You've got some yellow, you've got some white lines here as well, so the composition is there. So I just need to wait for someone to walk through or for something to happen. So I'll definitely camper this out. Oh wow, up ahead is a wonderful scene. So we've got the clouds, we've got some blue sky, but there's quite a lot of texture. But we also have the sunlight, and you have the contrast running right down the middle of that road. It's a very long road, it's quite far away. And then also you have the buildings all kind of around the road. So effectively I'm looking for something to come down the road, and looking at the sign, I think it's coming towards me. In an ideal world, I would love a classic car in a bright color to come down, but obviously we don't live in an ideal world, so I'll take what I can get. A very good afternoon from Istanbul. This isn't my first day. I've been here now for 4 days. This is my 5th day. However, for the first 4 days, I just wanted to focus on photography. And as often with making these videos, your attention is between making a good video and getting good shots and enjoying it. And because I'm now in Istanbul with a bunch of really good mates of mine, I physically couldn't do video and talking and photos and being present with my friends. So it was really nice to shoot, but now it's time to start the video. Throughout the Istanbul section of this video, you will see photos sprinkled from the previous 4 days. But yeah, it's really good to be back in Istanbul. The weather is absolutely perfect. It's kind of, well, May is a weird one in Istanbul because today is basically a summer's day. It's 25, but like 2 days ago it was rainy and 12 degrees and it felt like winter. So anyway, let's shoot. Look who I found.
Hello. Oh, don't we look like
Twats.
mobs?
So I am here, as you've probably seen, with James Popsis, but also with Aaron, with Mate, Faisal's coming, Ulysses is here, we also have Austin, we have Jim, Rick was with us for a few days, however unfortunately he had to go back home for family duties. It's very rare to get so many people in one place, so it's a pretty cool experience to have all your mates out here at the same time shooting. But you do kind of bump into each other now and again. Obviously we're not shooting all together, it would be a nightmare. So I am on my own, James is on his own, I think Aaron is with Ulysses, the Americans are together, and we kind of split up every day and people kind of pair up with different people every day. So yeah, it works really well actually. I find 4 people is the absolute max, but that's really pushing it. 3 people is a very nice kind of max number to be out shooting, especially in this area where it's, as you've seen, very cramped and chaotic. One thing I've noticed here is that both the 38 and the 90mm lenses work really, really well because you can get 2 very different scenes, plus obviously cropping in. The thing that I've been struggling with is to figure out which one to use for a particular scenario, because there is so much going on here that you could see shots everywhere and you always have this fear that you're missing out because you don't have a particular lens on the camera. And that's one of the kind of struggle, say it's a struggle, it's not a struggle, is it? But it's one of the things I've been facing. And I found myself often swapping lenses, and because I would often swap lenses, I would have to have the lens without any covers in my bag, so I can just quickly slap it on and call it a day. However, what that's meant is now the camera is quite dusty on the sensor, so I had to clean it, and obviously the lenses get dusty, etc. So there's no perfect solution. In an ideal world, I would love to have a zoom, but I also don't want to carry around a big piece of gear either. So it's just, yeah, it's one of those. What I found that is helping a lot is to just commit to one lens for a day, and if you miss shots, you miss shots, it is what it is. So today, for example, is a 38mm day. Now, I do have the 90 in my bag, but the covers are on, it's in its little protective bag. So there is definitely a bit of resistance in terms of putting the lens on. So yeah, today's 38 and I might just come back and do this whole place again with the 90 tomorrow or another day. I think that's the best way to do it. I don't know, maybe if you have a better suggestion, leave that down in the comments below. Wild Faisal Westcott in his prime element, looking for photos. Well, a very good afternoon to you. Earlier this morning, myself, James, Ulysses, Aaron and Faisal jumped on a ferry and headed basically to the end of the Bosphorus where it meets the Black Sea. You can jump out just before that happens. There's a cat going for a poo. Anyway, and you can explore this little area villages, little seaside towns, abandoned things. It's actually quite interesting, and it makes a nice change from the hectic city. No real plan for photography here, it's just more of a tourist stop to have a look, see what's here, take some photos if there's anything interesting, and just explore. You get about 2 to 3 hours of free time before you have to jump back on the boat and go back into Istanbul. So yeah, it's really cool here, really nice. Today is a very sad day because it is the last day in Istanbul. This trip has just disappeared. Like, it's one of these trips where time melts away, but it's been incredible. Whilst it's been great to shoot in this amazing city, and I've got some amazing photos that I am personally very happy with, it's been so good to catch up with the boys. So yeah, last day in Istanbul, the sun is out, there's a bit of haze in the air, the conditions are perfect, so loads of boats as well. All right, let's shoot. The energy is definitely down. We've just been shooting every day for like 8-10 days, however long it's been, covering up to 30,000 steps a day, and then in the evenings obviously having a few drinks, food, etc. Into the late hours, and sooner or later it all catches up. Also in Istanbul, it's a very intense place. There's noise everywhere, there's people everywhere, there's a lot of visual stimulation as well as sound, and that wears down at you. So I was talking with Aaron, in Tokyo for example, you could do a whole day out like this, do 30,000-40,000 steps and feel fine, because you don't really have the sound pollution. There's a lot of visual distractions, but Tokyo is a fairly quiet city in comparison to Istanbul. But the constant sound, the horns, the beeping, the people jumping out saying, you know, come into my shop or etc. It all kind of adds up, and if you've been doing it every single day, you can definitely get tired. I know from the outside it might seem like, oh, it's just like a holiday, but you do this every day, and I think you need a holiday from the holiday. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I think when you're doing these kinds of trips, you need to plan in some days off, some breaks, and some time to just rest. That's what tomorrow is for me. This is already a bit more local. Yep. Okay, what is this? Look inside there is quite cool. It's not a particularly good photo, but I find the juxtaposition of a brand new Tesla in such an old neighborhood quite interesting. I've just been told to shut up. A very good afternoon to you from sunny Porto. This is the last destination of this trip. I'm here with my mum. She's just over there somewhere. So today is a bit of a chill day. We walked down to the ocean. So if you follow the river, you'll end up at the Atlantic Ocean. Wonderful place to just go chill out and even to shoot. The tide was out, so I couldn't get the waves that I wanted, but there was some nice spray and I walked away with 1 or 2 photos that I'm very happy with. Now we're walking back into the city where we're gonna spend the next 2-3 days. So that's the intro done. This is such a cool scene. You got the lady sitting in front, you got the lighthouse, you got the wall, you got waves, you've got atmosphere, as in mist from the waves. So I'm just waiting for one wave to come to give a kind of white background instead of the sand background, and that should silhouette the lady quite nicely. So I think now and again you get, like, I guess, I don't want to say if it's a rogue wave or whatever it's called, or a sneaker wave. You get one which kind of goes a bit further in and gives me that background that I want. Hopefully everything lines up, but this is definitely one that's worth waiting for. I hope I am not too sweaty. You might not be able to see it on this lens, which is good. If you're not aware, the UK has been a bit warm recently, and part of being British is complaining about the weather when it's too bad and too good. Now it's too good, so I'm complaining about it. I do have a fan over there, but I can't use it, otherwise you won't hear me. Anyway, I'm sorry if this feels like the video has been cut abruptly, because I still had about 2 days worth of Porto footage to show you, but the video is already around 30 minutes long, and that's a siren, the joys of living in London. Anyway, The video is already at around 30 minutes long. I just don't want this to end up being like 50 minutes of photography. I'm sure some of you might like it, but I think for most people it might be a bit too long. So I'll show you the remainder of the images that I've not showed you as I'm talking to you right now. I just want to kind of summarize the video and specifically summarize the Hasselblad and just share my thoughts on this camera, having used it for the last 5-6 weeks as a daily camera, taken over 6,000 photos with it, and just treated it as if this is my only camera. Of course, as I've mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is sponsored, so take that for what it is. But I am sharing everything honestly, and I'm not kind of censoring myself in any way. So anyway, let's start with the two things I don't like about the camera. There aren't many. The first one is the same as the previous camera. The way you attach a strap could definitely be better. I'm sure there's a reason why they've done it, but it's just feels a bit unnecessary, and a traditional lug that you can put a, let's say, an anchor through would be better. You know, if you lose one of these things, you can't attach a strap to the camera without buying another one. Granted, they're only £20, but it's still something that you just don't need. So that's my only real gripe with the physical side of the camera. With regards to the software, I'm sure Hasselblad's watching this video, and if you're from the engineering team, please, can you add AFL, so AF lock, when using AFC, which is continuous autofocus. At the moment, if I'm shooting in AFC, I can't lock the focus unless I go to AFS or I stick the camera into manual focus. On most other cameras, you can lock the focus even in AFC, and as it stands, it's the only thing that is slowing me down with how I shoot. Most of the time I'm in AFC, and if I quickly need to focus and recompose, I will focus in AFC, lock it, recompose, take the shot, let go of the button, and then I'm back in AFC. You know, you have the AFD button here, which is in the perfect position for this. I just wish we could program it to that. So Hasselblad is very good at releasing new firmware, so hopefully this is something that can be added. Other than that, honestly, this camera has been great, but for the price you'd expect it to be great, so there is that as well. Let's start with what it's like to use as a daily camera. Is it excessive? I mean, of course it's excessive, but you know, if you're in a position to own a Bugatti Chiron and you can daily drive it, why not? You only live once. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with using it as a daily camera. If you have the hard drive space and the performance, then this would make an amazing daily camera. Primarily because you can just crop in to your heart's content. So the way I've been using it is I've been using it with a 38mm lens, which is around 30mm in full frame terms. I've been shooting in a 35mm crop, and then I can punch into 50, 60, 70 equivalent focal length and still have more resolution than most other cameras. Of course, it's not the same as using an exact lens of that focal length, but still, it's not bad at all. So just one camera, one lens is pretty good in that regard. In terms of size and weight, for me, it's kind of on the upper end of what I would use every single day. If you're going to be doing a very long hike, or if you plan to just handhold this camera the whole day, you will feel it by the end of the day. There's no getting around that. But at the same time, it's not much heavier than a full frame camera with a 24-70 zoom lens. Let's put it that way. Of course, if you use it with the bigger lenses, then this changes the whole situation because the 38 is quite small. But as the package stands right now, for me, it works as a daily camera without a problem. In terms of file management and all of that, the files are huge, 230-ish megabytes each. That leads to two things. The first thing is you just really rethink what you shoot. I would often, for example, take as many photos as I can, whereas now I am just a bit more mindful because even though, okay, it's not the same as shooting film, but still, you know, 10 photos, it's a lot of memory, so you just become a bit more selective. But also because of the resolution, you can actually just take one shot and take multiple crops from the same image, which I've done quite a few times. And that, I don't know if that saves space, but in my mind it saves space anyway. So yeah, as a daily driver, no problem at all. In terms of wear and tear, I did not baby this camera. I would just throw it into my bag, throw it on the floor. I would shoot by the sea with it. I'd shoot in the rain with it. It's held up really well. I mean, there's only kind of 2 marks on this. When I first got it, I thought this would scratch very easily, but I don't know. It doesn't scratch very easily, which is a bit annoying for me because I love scratched cameras. I love cameras that look like they've been used. There's just something more interesting about them than when they look brand new. And this only has 2 marks, so I have to try much harder to scratch it next time. So anyway, there's that. So yeah, all good in that respect. The main changes which have impacted me positively, the autofocus. So you have continuous autofocus now, which just tracks everything, and it's great. Is it a Sony level system? Of course it's not, but I would say it's better than my Q343, and it's on par with the Fuji X-H2 that I used to have. So it's good. It's for a medium format camera that takes these kinds of photos. It's great. I say my hit rate was around 95%, if not more. Yeah, I was genuinely blown away by the autofocus. For me, it makes this into a whole new camera, and whereas the previous X2D, you had to change how you shoot in order to work with that camera. With this, I just used it as I use any other camera, and it was fine. Obviously, if you're shooting landscapes, if you're shooting still life, architecture, then the new system might not be of much use to you. But if you do anything like me, so street, travel, anything more kind of fast-paced, this would be very good for that. The joystick, I'm very glad that this was added. It was a huge issue for me in the previous camera, and having it here is great. What it means is if I'm walking around, I've got the camera in my hand, I see a potential scene, I will, before even raising the camera, I would start moving the focus point to roughly where I think I want it, which is fantastic. There's an extra custom button there, which is nice as well. And the screen can now move in many more directions, which is also very good. So for me, what this camera is, it's just a huge improvement on the previous one. It's the same image quality, give or take, but the image quality, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. In my opinion, it's the best image quality, at least from all the cameras that I've used. I just don't see the need for better image quality or more resolution than this. It's kind of at the, the end game of image quality. The biggest issues for me were like the autofocus or the joystick and all these things. Most of them have been fixed. So it's just taken that image quality and made it a lot more accessible. So yeah, if you can afford it, it's a absolutely insane camera. Just be prepared to deal with the large file sizes and spend more money on storage. Yeah. Anyway, right. I'm going to leave the video there because 11 minutes, Jesus Christ. Right. The video is long enough. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Hasselblad for supporting me, for allowing me to use stuff like this. And I look forward to the next video. So yeah, thank you, and I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.